If you were around my age, you might remember the days as a child where you come home from school, sit down in front of the TV, and watch one of your favorite VHS tapes. Afterwards, I'd often play the games related to the movies on my PC, games like Disney's Hercules or Disney's Dalmatians. All of that gave me a very special and cozy feeling back then, like I was able to experience these stories with the characters I was playing as. There's one game, released this year, that gives me that same feeling, the feeling of experiencing a movie with the character, and that game is Stars on the Trash. Inspired by the glint in the eyes stray cats have when you point your light at them at night, this delightful game is about cats, adventure, and happiness. One thing I want to point out right away is how beautiful this game is. Everything here is hand-drawn 2D animation and watercolor painted backgrounds. The style of this game is a big reason for the feeling of watching an old movie, and once you see some of the cutscenes, you will know exactly what I mean. We play as Mokka, a typical grey tabby house cat. Mokka wants to experience the world outside the house, to have the adventure of a lifetime. But before we can do that, we need to learn how to be a cat, and what better place to learn than the safety of your own four walls. The house part is basically the tutorial for the game, and it's very well done. We get some adorable illustrations that not only serve as a fun joke, but also exactly explain the mechanics to us in a way that doesn't need words. In fact, there are no spoken words in this entire game. They absolutely nailed wordless storytelling in this. But back to the game for now. We learn how to interact with things, how to meow, and we learn how to jump and climb. We even get a small section to teach us stealth and a hilarious combat encounter with a vacuum cleaner to teach us how to fight. Once we've dealt with this threat, we take one last look through the house and it's finally time to start our adventure. We follow a street cat that we already saw once in the intro. Her name is Patty, but we'll get to know her a bit better later still. We followed her into the city, and oh boy, there's so many references here. Jackson Galaxy, a cat behaviorist, sits on the stairs playing with his cat. The cat of the developers is here. You can find Mr. Fresh, a famous livestream cat. Small little text referring to cat memes like, if I fit, I sit. It's a delight to just look at all the detailed backgrounds and find all these little things in your playthrough. For now we keep following Bati. There are a few platform sections on the way, and every once in a while we are treated to a cutscene. These cutscenes are beautifully animated. They kind of remind me of Lady and the Tramp and Lady and the Tramp 2. I suppose that's probably because of the overall themes being very similar. We're also learning some important life skills by watching Bati navigate the city. A few more puzzles are ahead. I find both of them are great examples of wordless gameplay. There are no introductions or big explanations for these puzzles, but you still know what you have to do. And while these puzzles aren't hard or anything, I think they're just right in the sense of immersion. We are a cat after all. This, among other reasons, is also something that I think makes this game very valuable to kids. Once we finished up with the puzzles, we meet a new character. A street dog that we saw pass by earlier is now being harassed by some rats. This is our first outside combat encounter, but we beat up the rats and save the dog. And while we move on, it might not be the last we see of him. Just ahead we have something really touching. The devs really care about their community, so they included a wall for pets that cross the Rainbow Bridge. All of these pictures here are pets from the community that have passed, which I thought was incredibly touching. This is a really sweet way to honor all of them. For now we're done with the city and move on to the scrapyard. We finally meet up close and personal with Bati here. She actually helps us through some puzzles in this area. Teamwork. Though she does get caught by a TNR trap. TNR stands for Trap Neuter Return. It's a project many communities use to neuter street cats and stop them from breeding too much. So we swiftly free her, followed by another combat encounter with rats. This isn't the greatest place for us to be, so we'll just go back to the city for now. This is where we meet the game's antagonist up close and personal for the first time, the Dog Pound Man. We sneak past the Poundman, but he's relentless and will give chase, so we have to be on our guard in this section. While we move on, we come across this laundry line section. We have to hide behind it to not get spotted, although these laundries are very clearly see-through. But we make it and promptly get chased again, only this time the man actually catches us. He doesn't seem super smart, and he doesn't do anything when we try to wiggle ourselves out, so we escape and climb up the church tower. This is probably the hardest part in the game. Climbing up this tower requires some precision, and since the man is absolutely relentless, we also have him to worry about, which means some sections we have to do rather quickly. Once we manage to get to the top, we have a small boss fight of sorts. We have to quickly pull the ropes on each side so the bell can drop onto the dog pound man. This must really hurt. Now comes my favorite part of the game. It's nothing special in the sense of gameplay, but this section is just really fun. We slide down the big church roof, it's all very cinematic with beautiful backgrounds and music. We meet Bati again, and together we run across the rooftops. The light hits you, the art, it's all very beautiful. And our boy Mokka finally gets to enjoy some sweet moments with Bati. Afterwards, we wake up without her, so we make our way down into a grocery store, solve a puzzle to get out, and cross a dangerous and busy street. Here we are treated to another beautiful cutscene. Our friend Trasto found us. But so did the dog pound man. He sends his rats out to get us. We've seen this teased earlier in the game, but now we got a boss fight with them. After beating the rats, however, just see for yourselves. Yeah, Bati has passed away in the fight. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time to mourn, as our friend gets captured and we have to run after him to free him. While we do that, we also learn that Bati had a kitten, Kimchi. If you know Valhalla cats, you might recognize Kimchi as the protagonist from their first game, The Purring Quest. In order to get to the dog pound, we have to cross the forest, which is full of hunters. So we have to be smart and sneaky. The dog from earlier in the game shows up here again as well. He belongs to the hunters now, but he does recognize us and he lets us go. Now, through some ponds to the other side of the forest, and the dog pound is right there. It kind of looks like a mansion if you ask me. Anyway, Trasto is here and we have to get him out, so we sneak into the room with the dog pound man, do a little bit of Metal Gear Solid style sneaking and steal his key. But during our escape, he wakes up and chases us, which promptly leads to an accident. And as we're just about to get grabbed by him, we remember something we learned from Bati. And this is where the story ends. We had our adventure, we made friends, lost loved ones, and we adopted Kimchi, which is now a full member of our family. We take one last look at the sky together, and the game ends. This is a beautiful little gem of a game. It's not the longest game you'll play, in fact it's only about an hour long if you just focus on the story, but it's one of those games where you can feel the passion leaking out in every corner. Fun references to cat behavior, lots of heartwarming moments, and a lot of attention to detail. There's also an element of replayability added through achievements. They range from challenges like beating the game without taking damage or speedrunning, to collectibles. I wouldn't say they're hard, but they require you to pay attention to what you're doing. And after that, you also have Kimchi, a small free game they released shortly after, with even more references to famous cats and an inclusion of fan art from the community. All in all, both this game and the studio are absolutely lovely. I encourage everyone to check them out and give this game a try, especially if you love cats. A lot of the cutscenes and gameplay footage I showed were shortened, so you can still see some more of it if you end up trying it out. This was definitely a little bit longer of a video, but it was a fun one to make. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed making it, and I'll see you in my next video.